Hello, I'm Eric Snodgrass, and thank you for watching today's Midday Western U.S. Regional Forecast video brought to you by Nutrien Ag Solutions. But before this day really gets going here at 6:30 this morning, we saw some pretty chilly temperatures across parts of the Pacific Northwest, and temperatures getting down in the lower 40s in some places here with some cloud cover in the overnight hours. Now, normally we can see during this time of year temperatures jump 30 plus degrees during the day, but that's not going to be the case today. Here's just a quick look at your maximum temperatures this afternoon. And not only is it going to be chilly in parts of the Pacific Northwest, but look at the Central Valley of California. Now, we've got a lot of change that we need to be talking about here in the next couple of weeks, so let's dig right on into this. We're going to start by seeing the precipitation, the heavy rainfall that we had been seeing not only over the last 72 hours, but over the last 5 days here, finally moving out. But still, take a look at these precipitation totals for the Pacific Northwest. Some places here in parts of east central Washington picking up several heavier bouts of rainfall that added up here to over an inch of rain. Remember, we do have some issues, especially right as you get into this area with good radar coverage, and also right down here with good radar coverage, which we talked about in a video a few weeks ago. But overall, I just want to give you a quick snapshot of the last 3 days of total accumulated precip. Now, blowing that same map out, we can see as we come down here into parts of the southwest, specifically into Arizona and New Mexico, we did get some thunderstorm activity that moved in here. And it was monsoonal-like in its moisture transport as it was getting pulled here out of the Gulf of Mexico. But I just want to show you, when we look back over the last 15 days, these storms have really been hit or miss at best. And parts of Arizona, in Southern California and Southern Nevada have really missed out on any sense of early season monsoonal moisture here, while parts of the Pacific Northwest have been extremely wet over the last 14 days. Some places like over there in parts of eastern Washington, western Idaho, and then along the coast in Oregon and Washington picking up between 200 and 300% of normal precipitation. So this has been at times extremely wet, and then as you get down in the desert southwest, some places have missed out on this entirely while they've been seeing temperatures skyrocket between 105 and 115 degrees. Now, I want to show you an animation. This was from yesterday, and it's just kind of midday until sunset here of where the monsoonal moisture extent really made it. It clipped parts of southeastern Arizona, but then it really pulled right through the central part of New Mexico with some pretty heavy rainfall. Now, if you get just to the west of that area, you can actually see the outflow dying. See it right in through here as it tries to push into Arizona. It's running into some extremely dry air in this area. And of course, you can see the big fire that is pushing the smoke plume north on these stronger winds here, just kind of in central parts of Arizona right there. Okay, as we look forward, I just want to show you a quick rundown of what we're anticipating the radar to look like over the next few days. We're going to be seeing this upper level trough that has been sitting over the Pacific Northwest finally move out. And as it does so later on today, on Tuesday, could get some widely scattered showers and storms before most of that activity moves into the Canadian prairies and also into parts of Montana. So again, look at the precip throughout the day today into tomorrow morning, afternoon, and evening, and then getting your way into Thursday midday. So we're going to watch once again for widely scattered but potentially very heavy rainfall in parts of the Pacific Northwest. Just to show you, this is a pretty cool product. It comes from the European model. It's lightning flash density. So just be aware that some of these storms could produce, of course, some lightning and some thunder into parts of Washington, Oregon, and Idaho as this upper level low finally pulls its way on through. Now, it's kind of crazy to show you this, but it's the 16th of June, and I would anticipate seeing these things. This is typical for this time of year in the Great Basin, to be seeing high wind issues causing red flag warnings. We also have red flag warnings that are in here into the Sacramento Valley. But when we get up here and start to see the blue colors show up, telling us we need to be prepared for winter type weather. In fact, this is a winter storm watch here in parts of Idaho and Montana. That tells you just how deep this upper level trough is. Now, what I want to animate for you next is wind speeds later this day. So let's talk about the fire threat side of this first. So what we're going to be seeing here is switching directions. These winds are now going to be coming out of kind of the northwest at times, and pretty strong winds here in parts of California coming out of the north and west. And it's a switch because what brought all that heavy rain into, for example, parts of the Columbia Basin was a wind that came out of the south and southwest. So with these stronger winds, we are of course going to be seeing the increased threat for for wildfire in through here, and that's why we got the red flag warnings not only in that area but also into the northern part of the Sacramento Valley, where temperatures will be climbing today. Let me show you how dry this area is going to be. So this is a pretty high resolution map here, and I hope I don't lose some of the finer scale things by showing it to you across the whole of the United States, but this is dew point temperature. And you can also see the wind barbs in the background there. So as we play this forward to this afternoon, we can see the split here, where the moisture's made it into New Mexico and where it hasn't made it over to Arizona, with our dew point temperatures here that could be getting down into the single digits. So this is why our fire threat is so high in this area. Meanwhile, get over here into parts of California and Nevada, getting up into Oregon, we do have dew point temperatures that are going to be down in the 40s and 30s. And with those stronger winds coming kind of more out of the north, we're going to be seeing, again, the increased fire threat today. As we go through this evening, Tuesday, working our way into Wednesday, once again, we see the very dry conditions pulling through parts of Nevada and California. And also notice by that time period where our dry line sets up. This will be Wednesday evening. You can see the dry line will be somewhere in this vicinity, bringing a much drier air into parts of New Mexico, kind of shutting down the showers and storms that we had been seeing in that area, but still remaining quite dry. And hang on to the end of this video because we're going to talk about this monsoon at the end of the video here. Okay, just want to give you another perspective on this. I know you got 5 maps here to look at, but it's just going to kind of tell you the bigger picture. What I'm concerned about today, look at how strong the winds will be in here. And you see that again on Wednesday, and then that finally moves out to the Central Plains on Thursday. So we get a bit of a calmer day by the time we get into Thursday with these winds. But our evaporation rates, that's the map that's down there in the bottom left. We can see that those numbers are increasing again through parts of California over the next week and still remaining high in our desert Southwest. And just for reference, I'd like you to just take a quick look at our calculated soil moisture anomalies as we kind of just put this all into perspective here, with some parts of north central California running about a 2 to 4 inch deficit in soil moisture compared to normal this time of year. So just for perspective there. Okay, what are we adding? Well, over the next week, this is from the Weather Prediction Center, so this is part of NOAA, and what we're seeing here is that this will be the corridor as that upper level trough ejects that has the best chance of picking up rain as we just look at the whole of our western region. Now, to show it to you kind of stepwise, early this morning we knew we were already dealing with some widespread scattered showers, but watch through this area and through here as I click play, and let's pause it right there and take you back so you can see it in a bit more detail. So Tuesday afternoon and evening, again, the whole of the Pacific Northwest still unsettled, and you just saw me show you the chances for a lot of this to be thunderstorm in nature, okay, so some locally heavy rainfall. But watch this, in the overnight hours on Tuesday getting into Wednesday morning, we could be picking up here at the highest elevation in this section of the Rocky Mountains, so parts of the Sawtooth, the eastern edge of the Payette National Forest, this region in through here, maybe getting several inches of snow at the highest elevations. So there's some cold air that's coming in there. While working our way through the day on Wednesday, getting into Wednesday afternoon and evening, now we start to bring in the higher winds into parts of Montana as well. And still, I'm anticipating some stronger winds here before we get to the end of the week in the Central Valley of California at times. Okay, let's get to the end of the week. As we go into the day on Thursday, Friday now, Saturday and Sunday, this is now much drier as we get out to that time period. We might possibly clip right here into parts of Washington for the second half of our weekend, maybe some light precip coming through, but outside of that, things are much drier. And I'm out now to next Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and you see a pretty sizable change in the Pacific, which we need to be talking about here. So let's just take a look at it. Day 10. We do see another trough developing off the Aleutian Islands. You know that that's been kind of our storyline. And we see it connected to a trough that's sitting over the Gulf. It's sitting over the Arctic Ocean. But what do we notice with our height lines? Can you kind of see their behavior like this? So that means ridge is building up into this area, increasing the temperatures. And this is also a pattern that doesn't bring in a whole lot of precipitation. Again, we're going to talk about that monsoon in just a few moments. So if I look out here into the week two only precipitation, we see that both models are favoring drier than average conditions through the Northwest and near normal precipitation for California. Just remember though, near normal is basically nothing this time of year. So that's how things are shaping up as we get out into week 2. What I really want to discuss now is what the temperature pattern is going to do, because I think it's going to be revealing on how things are going to be changing across the western United States in the coming days and weeks. So again, we saw this already. High temperatures today, much below average. But when do they change? Well, if we get into the day on Wednesday, the deeper trough moves into the north central plains, and watch, already by Thursday, we're back up into the middle to upper 90s in through here. And you can even see, it's kind of crazy for me. Sorry, I'm from Illinois. And so to be able to see that 103 degrees in Phoenix is a slight cool bias just blows my mind. And you know that we're on kind of record pace here with the accumulation of these 100-degree days. Well, as we go from Thursday into Friday, you can see the temperatures really cranking up again toward the end of this week and weekend along the West Coast. So now we're talking triple-digit heat potentially in the Central Valley, and a return back to the upper 80s in the Pacific Northwest. And that continues Saturday into Sunday and into Monday of next week. And beyond that, take a look at these temperatures now. Both the GFS over here on the left and the European over there on the right are continuing with the warmer trends in the western United States as we get all the way out to day 10. And they want to kind of keep it on as we get out here to the 11 to 15-day time period. But do you notice this right here? So if that trough develops over the next 5 to 10 days over the Aleutian Islands, it'll then want to sweep to the east into day 11 through 15. And so while there's still much above average temperatures being forecast, I don't necessarily think we're just stuck permanently in above average temperatures. I think we're going to be sweeping through at times some cooler, just a shot at some cooler temperatures. So why do I think that? Well, if I go all the way out here to June 30th, okay, that's where the trough sits. Remember, it was developing here. Now it's moved over Alaska. And the flow, if you notice, kind of dips into a broader trough along the west coast. Now, troughs at this time of year don't necessarily bring in wet weather. But as I looked at this and I saw this ridging feature here, so an upper level high pressure cell sitting over the southwest, I started thinking about what it takes in that area to be getting good monsoonal moisture. So the years that you see here are for Arizona only, looking at precipitation, and those are the wet Julys. And when we see that, I want you to notice a couple of things. Look at the pattern getting blocked up here from the Arctic, really northern Siberia, to the Aleutian Islands with a big ridge, and south of it another trough. What that tends to do to the jet stream is it tends to kind of force it into a much more northerly pattern with a couple of ridges, one here and there, with broader lower pressure there, which is what's given us that transport of moisture. At this particular point, we're not seeing that set up in that ideal configuration. But this is better than getting entirely blocked up, shutting everything off. I think we have a situation as we progress through this summer where we're going to be seeing, I think at times, more conducive environment to giving us that monsoonal flow through parts of Arizona. I'm going to be researching it, trying to understand it, and get better at predicting it for us because it's critical to the agriculture in the desert Southwest. But to finish this up, I want to go back over to the European model. One thing that we've noticed in the latest updates for the July 1 through July 7 time period is that there's been a slight cooling overall in the western United States. It's still going to be warm, but it's not nearly as warm as it had been forecast. And just in general, you kind of see near average precip. Again, what I'm watching for is blocking. I'm going to keep my eye out for any sort of a blocking pattern that gets stuck for 10 plus days. And if I find it, I will report it to you immediately because that could change everything for our summer outlook. All right, hope you all have a good week. I look forward to giving you my long range update tomorrow. And until then, enjoy the rest of your day, okay? Thank you.